Welcome to the Aligned Ambition Show, where we share women's entrepreneurial wisdom. Are you a woman starting or growing your online heart-centered business? Are you wanting to do things differently? Do you feel icky about using manipulative marketing tactics and are ready to align your business with your ethics, values, and life goals? If this sounds like you, then stick around for this conversation.
We're the dreamers, the believers, breaking through the mold, building up our visions with a purpose brave and bold.
All right, welcome to the Aligned Ambition Show. I'm your host, Larissa Russell from Heart Centered Academy, and today I have with me Tanesha Moody. Tanisha is a leadership and resilience coach, speaker, and founder of Full Out Coaching, with a career spanning professional theater, global event leadership at Fortune 500 brands, and coaching high-achieving women. Tanisha helps entrepreneurs reframe rejection, embrace feedback, and lead boldly without losing themselves in the process. Love that. Her work is rooted in emotional intelligence, authenticity, and feminine energy as powerful tools for growth. She supports women in shifting from external validation to internal trust, using every no as fuel for clarity, alignment, and action. Through keynotes, corporate training, and conference coaching, she creates spaces where women can show up fully, build resilient businesses, and lead with integrity and impact. Welcome, Tanisha.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Well, I am very excited to have you and have a conversation with you and for you to share some of what you do. And for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit more about you and then how you came to do what you do?
Definitely. So I'm Tanisha. Thank you so much for the introduction. And I'm based in Maryland and left and came back. I tell my family all the time that I'm here for now. So we'll see what happens. But I've had a pretty unique career path. I started first in professional theater as a stage manager and then shifted into corporate events, working with some pretty cool brands, Disney, Salesforce, Under Armour, leading teams, building teams from scratch, and creating emotional, experiential moments throughout the country, honestly. And it was through those experiences, though, that I realized that my favorite parts about all my roles in theater, in corporate events, was really helping people grow, helping them discover their values, their goals, and supporting them to get there. And it was actually a layoff through Salesforce that really kind of prompted me to consider doing that full time, serving people in that capacity as a coach. So I started my leadership coaching training about 2 years ago, went ahead and got certified through International Coaching Federation, or ICF, as a PCC coach, meaning I've had the chance to coach over 550 hours, over 200 individuals across the world. And it's been such a privilege to walk with people and hold space for them and help them navigate life and figure out who they are, what they want to do, their purpose, their assignments, and how they want to do that and ripple their impact as well.
I love that. And it is often through that journey that we take in our, work life that we find what our purpose is, right? That we resonate with something. And what allowed you to move out of working for someone else and move into working for yourself? Was there a catalyst for that, or was it just time,
So I always kind of had in the back of my mind that I would be an entrepreneur, but I did not think it would happen where I would have to be kind of forced to do it. After navigating multiple layoffs, that was only my last one from Salesforce, it actually kind of felt like I was being pushed towards having my own thing. Definitely being a Christian, I spend a lot of time with God trying to figure out, is this really what you want me to do at this point, or is this something else? And I would say the opportunity to really kind of build something from scratch has been such a beautiful experience, to create Full Out Coaching, to kind of take from my experiences and my skill set and build something unique that's true to me, has been so fulfilling. And I'm grateful that it's already impacted other people in such a way, and I'm very excited to see what's next.
I love that. I love that. That's often the way, I kept telling myself I was going to start my own business, I was going to leave corporate world. I was going to do that. And then it was the final layoff that was like, okay, this is the time. Let's do this. And then that was in October of, the year before the pandemic. I don't even know when that was now. And so in October, and so I was like, oh, I'll give it a try and see how it goes. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, well, we're in it now. So
Yes.
all of those things, it's just like paying attention, right? Like I knew I was supposed to do it, but then listening, it's scary to leave your job and do that. So when you're giving an opportunity, it's like, all right, let's take it. Let's take it. And with the
Exactly.
coaching that you do, how, empowering people or to really move forward and go full out, I guess. What are some of the things that you tell people to get them to move forward and do what they need to do? How do you help them?
Yes, I love this question. And when I actually introduce myself to other people, I usually say, "Oh yeah, I help people figure out their lives." And I actually had to do that for myself. So, and what I actually went through was a long journey, and I've been able to kind of narrow that down into a method for myself and then for my clients as well. And I call it the CLEAR method. And it is an acronym. It stands for clarify your purpose, live by your values, embody your identity, align with courage, which is about navigating that fear, the rejection, the things that kind of get us stuck, and then rippling our impact. And I applied this kind of formula to my life, and now I help others to do the same thing. And it really kind of starts with all pieces of that. Like, what exactly are your values? Who are you as a person? And what do you feel like you were put on this earth to do? And how does that impact and serve other people? And helping us get clear, of course, a fun acronym that you can also say in sentences, really allows them to kind of really step into the expert role of their selves, of who they are in their lives, the expert seat, and step forward with that information in hand. It's very easy, I would say, or at least easier to make decisions when you know kind of the parameters, the guardrails that you're trying to play within, and helping individuals just make those one steps to gain that clarity is so impactful to help inspire them to move forward to whatever they're attempting to accomplish. And as a coach, I do hold space for individuals in our sessions. I ask powerful questions. I notice things and pull things together and get a little bit creative. However, that's just one piece of it. I'd love to work with people that recognize that, like, I'm in charge of my life and there's things that I can choose and that I can do. Because after that session, however long it might be, so much of the work happens outside of that. So I might just be like the starting point, but seeing them come back and say, like, this is what I did, this is how I was impacted, this is what changes I made as the expert in my life, and then we can just move on to the next area. But rooting it in that CLEAR method has been so impactful for so many of the clients I've had a chance to work with.
I find that it's really important, we're often told, do what you love and the money will follow, but that doesn't really tell us how to do it. And we often think then, well, we have to do the thing we're good at. And that's not always our
Mhm.
purpose. Just because we're good at something doesn't make it our purpose. And so trying to figure out what that is. And I think, like what you said about really looking at how you align with your values and what you want, what lights you up, right? What are those things that really bring passion to you? That's more about what your purpose is. And so having someone to walk that path, with you and help you figure that out, right? Like you're not giving them answers. And that's what I love about coaching actually is it's not like going to, therapy and they give you the answers and on you go. Coaching is a totally different beast where you get to explore and we ask those prodding questions that make you then think and go, oh, okay. Right. I love that about it. And yeah, and to see the transformation. what is like one of your favorite things about those transformations, or is there a transformation that you can share with us?
Yeah, one that actually comes to mind. I worked with an individual, and she actually experienced something traumatic throughout, like in the middle of our session time together, and it actually kind of changed the whole trajectory of her life. She experienced the death of her spouse, and seeing where we were originally, uh, through how we were trying to navigate and figure out like what was important to her then, and watching the transformation to where she is now, where she's really kind of owning who she is as an individual, really flourishing, playing a small role in just helping her to see things from a different perspective was such a gift. And to witness that transformation in a way that just um, kind of ripples not just for herself, but like the people that are around her as well, is just such a privilege to have been able to play just a small role as a coach with her. But I felt like things that we went through in terms of not just for her, but for a lot of my clients, is really kind of figuring out how can we actually navigate some of those really tough things, the things that actually get us stuck or running around in circles, such as fear and rejection or failure, those things that just don't go away. They're always going to be there as we go throughout lives. And I think when we can help those clients kind of just get a grasp on what that actually is to them and what's going to work for them to navigate around those things, is such a privilege to watch that transformation unfold.
I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. And yeah, to see the shifts that come, because it's like those light bulb moments. Those are my favorite, right? When you can see that spark, when they go, oh, that's the thing. Is my absolute favorite. And what do you think, for those who are thinking about starting a business or have their business and they're trying really hard to like fit the mold that we've been told that we don't fit into as women, what are some of the things that you maybe do differently or you would advise somebody to do differently?
Some things that I would advise them to do differently is definitely figure out the ripple effect first. And what I mean by that is sometimes we go into things thinking about, this is solely for me. This is so that I can get rich, so I can have influence. And I would encourage others to think about who is going to be on the receiving end of that. How are you going to serve people? How are you going to help them? Like, what about your journey is going to help somebody else follow along in those footsteps and lay a foundation for somebody else to follow along? So start with the end in mind, but as it relates to the people, would be something that I would really encourage entrepreneurs and even people that are in leadership roles or another type of roles as well, where there's an impact on others. Start with them.
I love that. It's so important, you know, when we start and you go into entrepreneurship, I'm going to work for myself and I'm going to work less hours and I'm going to, have all this money and all freedom and all the things. And the more you chase that, I find the worse it gets. I've seen it over and over and over again. But when you look at how can I serve, what can I do for others, it all just falls into place. And I think that's such an important part in all of it, right? We get caught up in that, masculine energy of produce, 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 and we must be doing, well, we must be doing. That's really it. You can work less hours. You can be absolutely loving what you do if you focus on, yes, the end result of how can you serve others. And then the money comes in. Then everything becomes easier. I think that, yeah, that's absolutely it. Yeah. Love that. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I know there's a bit of a lag, Tanisha, so I apologize because I'm someone who like keeps going if there's a space. So I'm trying to stop and allow you to, jump in. But if you could do, if you could, one piece of advice, other than, the end result of people, what is one thing somebody can do right now to move forward with making a change, whether it's moving towards entrepreneurship or just a change in life? What's one thing that you would advise them of?
One thing that I would advise others to do if they're looking to make a change is to really kind of get into the root cause of why. Like, what is the reason that you actually want to make this change? And I feel like asking ourselves this question and spending some time like really dissecting it, and maybe even kind of counseling other people, maybe if it's a coach or a friend or God, whoever, like making certain that we are clear on the why that we're doing any of this, I think is super important when it comes to any kind of decision or small step that you wish to make. And I actually think this ties in, and I think we did have a delay because I was going to hop in a little bit earlier about having clarity about our assignments and our purpose. And I also feel like that connects a little bit too about who we're trying to serve, because our assignments aren't really just for us. I think of it like the gifts that we're given probably do point to a little bit about like how you're supposed to spend this time on earth. And those gifts are meant to be shared in a lot of ways. And I think if we are clear on that why piece of why we're sharing or what we want to do or what step needs to be taken to kind of contribute to that bigger picture, it makes it so much easier to take a step. And then I would combine that with something that I tell myself very often. And although I did work for Under Armour leading events, I do steal from Nike when it comes to just do it. Because there's so many things that if we just do it, it will be so much easier. I know for myself, it was a struggle sometimes to be consistent in waking up early or making certain that all of these things are happening when they need to happen. But if I have that why, if I know why I'm doing it, for who I'm doing it for, who I'm serving, and I just do it, that is the step right there. And now we're not stuck anymore. We're moving on to something else. And I know it sounds so incredibly simple to just do it, but maybe it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I would absolutely agree with that, because we get caught up in all the stuff going on in our head, right? And our brain lies to us all the time. So it's like, if we can just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, what you anticipate or expect it to be, but just start and, and put yourself out there to do the one thing, whatever it is for you. I love that. I love that. And I noticed that you have a gift. You weren't rejected. Your offer was a mind. Oh, you weren't rejected. Your offer was a mindset guide. Okay. I have to read it with the punctuation. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And the link is below for those who are watching.
Yes, thank you for asking about that. So throughout my journey, I recognized that rejection was something that was always happening. I have started to define rejection as anything that results in like a no. That's probably rejection. When you want a yes, but it ends up being a no. So that can be anything from like, hey, would you like to have dinner with me, to like, hey, I'm putting my application in and I'm offering my expertise to work for this company, and it ends in a no. And that's how I qualify as rejection. And throughout these experiences, from being laid off multiple times, from applying to multiple jobs, even like in relationships and friendships, I started to really recognize that rejection, number one, is not going anywhere. Number two, rejection is something that if I see it from the right perspective, it really is a gift. And throughout this experience of working with clients, writing about rejection and experiencing rejections, I started to really recognize that it was my offer that was being rejected, not me personally. Like that rejection does not limit who I am. It's not an attack on my personal existence. So that rejection was solely on that offer that I laid out on the table. And throughout my blog, as well as in this resource that I'm sharing with everyone, complimentary, I recognize that rejection advice that we receive throughout the years is what I call sucky rejection advice. A lot of it is not great, in my opinion. Rejection is redirection, or just get over it, or build tough skin. All of those things are not practical, in my opinion, to navigate rejection experiences that really hurt. So I've spent a lot of time writing about it and sharing it so that other people can recognize that rejection really is a gift. It's something that we can utilize and leverage to get to where we're meant to be. And this resource is a snapshot of some of the work and writing that I've done, with a couple of practical tools to kind of reframe and figure out what actually was rejected. Some powerful questions built in there to help reframe that mindset and get on the path to, like, I don't know, maybe we start to look forward to rejection so that we can use it for where we're trying to go.
I love that. I love that. It's so important. And it's very true. You know, we often take things personally when our offer is rejected, or if, you know, whatever it is rejected. But even if, I'm just going to, you know, add on to that, even if we are personally rejected, it doesn't say anything about who we are, right? We're not for everybody. I often tell the women in my community, there's 8 billion people on this planet. And if we had every single one of them as a customer or in our community, we'd be overwhelmed. We need to find our people. And so when we put ourselves out there, we find our people. And so the more often we put ourselves out there, the more likely we are to find our people. And so, yes, absolutely. Rejection is a big part of being an entrepreneur. And so I love that you have a resource to help people move through that mindset of, you know, it's not me. And so, yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Thank you. Do you have any final thoughts before we go today? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I think the final thoughts that are coming up for me is just really leaning into one of my values, which is gratitude. I'm so grateful that I had a chance to be here, and I hope to connect with individuals who are listening, and of course with you throughout this experience. The things that we have in terms of our community is such a gift, and leveraging that, whether that comes to rejection or if that comes to supporting them in your businesses and where you're trying to go. Like, this is something to be grateful for and to pour into. And I'm so appreciative that we had a chance to do this today.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Gratitude's a big part of our community too. We talk about gratitude a lot. Almost every program I have, we end with a gratitude, because it is such an important part of, you know, moving forward in a positive way, I think. So thank you for that. And I do want to thank you again for being here. I so appreciate you sharing your wisdom and just, you know, your whole being of who you are. I absolutely love that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, we will see you again next time on the Aligned Ambition Show. Thanks for watching. Are you a woman interested in aligning your heart-centered business with your ethics, values, and life goals? Join our Aligned Business Building Mastermind for accountability, like-minded women who become your business colleagues to share your journey with, resources and trainings, and so much more. Join us for 1 month free using the link below. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Aligned Ambition Show.